Then I want to, yeah? Mm-hmm.
Those things you were just talking about, like the motion in the corner doing funny things, I have some similar problems. How did you go about fixing
The motion in the corners. How did I go about fixing the motion that I was having? Well, one of the things to remember is this is a mechanical device. This is not a musical instrument. This doesn't work by thinking beautiful things. You know, some people think it does, but that's absolutely untrue. This is mechanical. You don't expect your car to run without gas. Man, I got this great car, but if it has no gas, it's not a very good car, you know. So basically, the things that happen pre-trumpet make the trumpet work. So what's happening with your body, understanding, and I mean every teacher, every book talks about the air, you know. Now one of the things about the air that's really interesting is how do people describe the air? Let's look at the books. Let's not talk about the people who are teaching today like me, okay? Let's talk about the traditional books. What do they call the air? They have words for it. They call it the air stream. That goes this way. That's a good one. I like stream. Why do they use that word? Flow, air flow. That's another one. Air column. Okay, all of those things look like this pen. So you put that in there, and you put that in there, and all of a sudden, the air starts moving towards the instrument. You don't hear them call it the air cave, do you? Have you ever heard that? Air ball. That's what we do when we miss notes. We don't want to do air balls, and we don't want an air ball in your mouth. Okay? If you have an air ball in your mouth and all of your air is flowing into your mouth, how do you know that it's going to go into this little hole here? You don't. Then you play with great hope. And trust me, I was a real hoper for a long time. You know, when people would say, open up, play, you know, and then I couldn't move. I couldn't lip slur. It bummed me out. I said, well, I get a great sound, though, but I couldn't do it. So I started to think about what I needed to do. So getting the air to move directly towards the trumpet. How many parts of your tongue are there? This is important because it's one of the biggest problems in playing trumpet. The tongue actually has 4 parts. Okay, what are the 4 parts? Let's start at the front. Everybody know. You can do this. This is easy. What do you do with this part of your tongue? Never say ta 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 or ta ta ta. Why don't we ever say that?
air doesn't move in that formation?
Somebody taught us that in the 1860s and 70s. Who taught us that? Duh. Everybody uses that book, right? But you have to realize that book is not in English. It's in French. So when you talk about tonguing, you say, I'm French, so I'm going to move away from here so I don't spit on you. Okay? Do you hear the air? That's what he was talking about. He was describing the sound of the air, not the tongue. He was not talking about, you can go, I'm doing do now. It still sounds like tu. But I'm not changing what hits my hand. How about this? Ka. Nothing comes out. Now, I practiced double tonguing like that for about 10 years. And I couldn't double tongue above the staff. It was sad. I practiced hard. I was going, taka. My eyes were popping out, you know. I was pressing the mouthpiece this way because there was no air coming out. It was all, and then people always say, loosen up, you know, don't be so tight. How do you do that? You can't do that. You have no control of those muscles. You have to find a way to create a mechanic, a machine that delivers the air directly towards the instrument. Air never goes. This is my brother. Watch this. This is going to be great. No, it's worse. It's Mark Wood. Okay. Everybody knows him. That's, you know what the problem is there. Okay. The air, okay, what's important about the air? It has to go directly towards the instrument. So we have to create a mechanism that delivers this air. Everybody whistle. Ready? Now whistle like this. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, you can't do anything. Nothing's you're gonna be able to hum, and that's it. Because the air is excited to go through this little hole here. And the air comes out. If you're doing anything with your tonguing and air's not coming out, don't do that anymore. There's no reason to do it. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is a mechanical device. This is a musical instrument. That's where the expression connection comes. If this isn't saying what this is saying, it's very frustrating, isn't it? Yeah. So basically, you know, you're trying to, the four parts of the tongue, we have the front, that's the T. How about the second part of the tongue? Second part of the tongue is actually right here. What's that? You guys are scared. This is terrible. You can't be scared. What? This is the tip. What's this? Well, I got the right idea. It's used for articulation. What articulation? Remember Mr. Arbin? He doesn't say ka, ka. He says your K is actually before the middle of your tongue. Don't believe what I say. Go home and try it. Try to change your evil ways. I had to. Okay? So the K is actually here. It's right somewhere where that ridge is. So you practice. So I'm practicing like, oh boy. Another way to practice is go. I learned that from one of my first students, Rich Illman. I saw him do this thing, and I went, "Why didn't I ever think of that? That's really good." So you don't go tucka tucka tucka, and you hear the air. So the second part of your tongue is the K. That's somewhere in there. Don't worry about where it is. Just have an idea of basically the general area. Then what's the next part of the tongue? Which? The rudder. The rudder? Okay, you can call it the rudder. That's okay. What do we normally, the lip slur kind of deal, right? Yeah. So basically the middle of the tongue is used to do the air thing. Now, one of the things about the middle of the tongue, and this might come into the question thing. What do you do if the air is moving too slow for the tongue, the rudder, to do anything? Squeeze the lips. That'll fix it. Just squeeze your lips. That'll fix it. Tongue harder. Squeeze it. Now, squeezing tongue. That'll do it. Yeah. You see what I mean? If the air's not right, if the air's not coming up and through your mouth, remember, not into your mouth, through your mouth, you can't do much about it. So you have to come up with a control thing. There's a lick, right, in the Jolove concertino, right? I'm going to do it on B flat because I don't know the fingerings. And you can practice. Jim Ackley has a new book out, and he uses a technique that I've used for years, and it's flutter tonguing. If you try that. It's using the Jolove, and how many times, half of the time you hear people play that, they leave it out. Well, I can't do that. It's hard. Too hard. Yeah. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Remember that. Vince is not the brightest light on the block. Trust me. I'm like on dim. All right? I mean dim. Okay? So I have to really concentrate to learn these things. there's a lot more quick people out there, and I teach a lot of these people. It's so exciting to teach people, you know, and to try to have people figure out what they're doing. It's not analysis is paralysis. That's not true. You have to step back from yourself, and you'll never be upset about what you're doing. If you get all flustered and because it's you, well, maybe that's true. Analysis will be paralysis. Okay? And then the middle of the tongue is used to do those things, you know, just to move around to help us. But if the basic airflow, you know, you ever notice in the, we're going to have some of you play here, but you ever notice, you can run the clinic, you know, like these endings, you can change the endings of movies and stuff. Well, if you want me to start teaching people, just start raising your hands. We're tired of what you're saying. Okay? There's a basic flow for every one of these brass instruments. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't need to know. I don't need to know that much. But I do know that this size tube develops a certain type of, needs a certain type of air to operate in the safety zone. If you're playing with the air of a trombone, let's say, you know, if that's all so open that the air is moving so slow, what's going to happen to the middle of your tongue, the rudder? I mean, it's going to hit the roof of your mouth while you're playing C in the staff. And then you're going to do what for the rest? Squeeze your lips, press the horn. Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. So we have to try to take care of it. And one of the ways I take care of that is actually I play on the lead pipe a lot. And not a lot, maybe 3 or 4 times a week for me is enough. See, I'm going to say the dreaded C word, compression. People don't like that word. They think it means tightness. Compression does not mean tightness. It means that you're buoying up this air. You're getting it excited enough to work this machine. That's all it means. It doesn't mean tight. Tight is when you go like that and you don't let the air come out. Okay? So basically, I think the lead pipe is a really good thing. Some people play like in the staff, like most Adam students, right? They started the F. Yeah. See, now, why do they use F? You can play E. You can go. They don't use that note because you can't connect to the other one as easily. You can get more air in the horn that way. You can just blow it out, and you can't play any notes. But say if you can play this note. Now, if you could play those 3 notes just like that, how much of the music that you have to play during the day could you not play? Maybe 4 or 5%? Maybe? So it wouldn't be bad to start. I start playing, especially when my lip feels a little funny, like for I overplayed too much, you know, or had to play too much the day before. I start like this. The trumpet doesn't care how your lip feels. It doesn't know how your lip feels. You're the only one who knows, oh, my lip feels so bad. What does that usually do for you? It brings you into the downward spiral, doesn't it? I don't know if I'll be able to play the high C, in the high C sharp in the Shanes. I'm not going to get it. I don't think I'm going to get it. I didn't get it.